They said humanity was weak, a species too young, too peaceful, too afraid to understand the true meaning of galactic war, whispered the elders of the council in their golden halls. For 1,000 years, they observed our development with condescending eyes, convinced that our peace treaties and diplomatic agreements were signs of cowardice. Humans fear war, they declared with disdain, while their own fleets were shattered before the relentless advance of the Krogan. What delicious irony! While they mocked our pacifism, they failed to see that every peace treaty was a carefully placed piece on a larger chessboard. While they dismissed our reluctance to display military power, they did not notice that every commercial ship was a disguised fortress, every peaceful colony a strategic outpost, every smiling ambassador an observer gathering data on their weaknesses. The Galactic Council, in its millennia-old arrogance, made the most basic mistake of all. It confused patience with fear, strategy with weakness. When they finally begged for our help against the Krogan threat, they had no idea they were about to witness the awakening of something far more terrifying than their worst nightmares. After all, what is more dangerous? A species that lives for war, or one that has spent 1,000 years meticulously preparing for a single, decisive demonstration of power? The Council was about to find out the answer, and it would change the HFY galaxy forever. This is the story of how humanity turned 1,000 years of underestimation into the most devastating weapon the cosmos had ever seen. A story of how the Terran Empire proved that true supremacy lies not in how many wars you win, but in how many you avoid. Until the exact moment you decide to reveal your true strength. In the vast cosmos where ancient civilizations danced, their waltz of power and diplomacy, humanity was seen as little more than a curiosity. The Galactic Council, in its ancestral arrogance, watched the development of the Terran Empire with a mixture of condescension and disinterest. Other species could not comprehend how such a young race had achieved such an advanced level of technology without plunging into stellar conflicts. To them, it was inconceivable that progress could flourish without the baptism of fire from war. Human pacifism was interpreted as weakness, a naivety that would be brutally corrected by the reality of the cosmos. But what they failed to perceive was that every peace treaty, every diplomatic negotiation, every trade agreement was meticulously designed to strengthen humanity's position in the galaxy. In the imposing council chamber, Commander K, a veteran Krogan known for his military acumen, presented his report on the mysterious Terran military force. His scales gleamed under the artificial light as his deep voice echoed through the hall. "Humans are an enigma," he declared, his predatory eyes scanning the assembly. "They have built an empire without firing a single shot. They have developed warships that have never seen battle. They train soldiers who have never proven their worth in combat." The mocking tone in his voice was evident, but there was something else, an underlying unease that few noticed. To an experienced warrior like him, humanity's apparent passivity was far too unnatural. The Terran Empire had expanded in a steady and calculated manner, establishing colonies and strategic systems without ever engaging in direct conflict with other species. Their ships, though clearly armed, maintained a discreet but constant presence along trade routes. The efficiency of their technology was undeniable, but in the absence of overt displays of power, the other races preferred to believe it was all a facade. Admiral Marcus Reeve, a central figure in human military strategy, remained a shadow behind the scenes, rarely participating in major diplomatic gatherings. His absence was interpreted as yet another sign of supposed human weakness, when in reality it was part of a much larger plan. The galaxy buzzed with tales of the supposed superiority of the older races. The Krogan, in particular, boasted of their military prowess and their capacity for destruction. In bars and space stations, it was common to hear jokes about how humans would tremble before a true galactic conflict. The peace that humanity cherished so dearly was seen as a chain that bound them, preventing their true development. No one realized that every laugh, every disparaging remark, every display of contempt was carefully recorded and analyzed by Terran intelligence services. Amidst this atmosphere of underestimation, the Terran Empire continued its silent expansion. Its colonies thrived, its economy flourished, and its advanced technology evolved at a staggering pace. What appeared to be pacifism was, in reality, calculated patience. Every move was part of a greater strategy, a plan so vast that only a select few within the upper echelons of the human military fully understood it. Revenge, after all, is a dish best served cold, and humanity was preparing a galactic feast. The events that would follow would forever change the galaxy's perception of human nature. The Galactic Council, in its arrogance, had committed the most basic and fatal mistake a strategist could make, underestimating its opponent. The destruction that loomed would not stem from uncontrolled emotions or an irrational thirst for vengeance. It would be the methodical and precise execution of a plan centuries in the making. The Cold War that humanity had been waging was about to heat up, and no one was truly prepared for what was coming. The silence before the storm stretched across the galaxy. In the command rooms of Terran ships, trained officers waited with the efficiency of well-oiled machines. Human militarism, long concealed under a mask of diplomacy, was ready to reveal its true face. The looming threat would serve as the perfect catalyst to unveil the true nature of Terran military supremacy. Meanwhile, in the halls of the Council, Commander K began to feel the first shivers of a disturbing realization. Perhaps, just perhaps, they had made the greatest mistake of their lives by provoking an unstoppable force that had only been waiting for the right moment to awaken. The moment humanity had been waiting for had finally arrived, wrapped in the most unlikely of packages. A plea for help from the Galactic Council. The message came through official diplomatic channels, encoded with the highest security protocols, demonstrating the gravity of the situation. The Terran Empire, long marginalized from the galaxy's major decisions, now found itself at a historic crossroads. Admiral Marcus Reeve, seated in his office on the Terra Prime orbital station, allowed himself a brief smile as he read and reread the communique. The war against the Krogan was becoming unsustainable, and the Council, in its desperation, was turning to those it had so long despised. Deep in space, the Krogan threat grew like an unrelenting storm. Planet after planet fell under its brutal force, leaving only destruction in its wake. The Galactic Council, with all its advanced technology and self-proclaimed military supremacy, found itself powerless against the enemy's overwhelming might. The Cold War they had maintained with the humans now seemed like a luxury they could no longer afford. The power they so proudly boasted proved insufficient, and the superiority they proclaimed dissolved into the vacuum of space along with their destroyed ships. The Council's ultimatum was clear in its urgency but pathetic in its pretension. They were not asking for help. They were demanding participation, as if they still held any moral or military authority to make such demands. The irony of the situation did not escape human strategists who had been preparing for this moment for centuries. The Terran Empire had built its military strength in secret, developing technologies and tactics that had never been tested in real combat. Human military prowess was an enigma to the galaxy, and it was about to be revealed in the most dramatic way possible. The human response to the ultimatum was crafted with the same surgical precision that characterized all their actions. 3 words, carefully chosen to convey not just acceptance, but also a veiled warning. We accept. Prepare yourselves. The looming galactic confrontation would be the perfect stage to showcase the true potential of Terran military power. Admiral Reeve, in his wisdom, knew that this was the opportunity humanity had long awaited, not just to prove its worth, but to establish its dominance once and for all. In the corridors of power, Both human and alien factions began moving like pieces on a cosmic chessboard. The impending power shift had been meticulously planned, each move calculated decades in advance. The Council, in its arrogance, imagined that humanity would bow to its will, offering a token force merely to maintain appearances. Little did they know that every ship, every soldier, every weapon in the Terran arsenal had been designed and built with a singular purpose: to establish human supremacy in the galaxy. The tension in the days following the ultimatum was palpable. In the Terran space docks, warships that had never known battle were being prepared for their first and decisive engagement. Humanity's evolution, both technological and military, was about to be unveiled in all its devastating glory. The pacifism that had long served as a facade for the Terran Empire was about to give way to a demonstration of power that would forever alter the balance of forces in the galaxy. The approaching galactic reckoning would not be served as a hot dish of emotions, but as a calculated display of technological and strategic superiority. As the Council anxiously awaited humanity's full response, an unsettling truth began to form in the minds of the most perceptive leaders. Perhaps they had made a mistake in underestimating this young race for so long. Commander K, in particular, felt a growing unease. Something about the Terran response, in its brevity and confidence, suggested that they had just opened a door that could never be closed again. The galaxy was about to witness the awakening of a force that had long prepared, itself in the shadows, patiently waiting for the perfect moment to reveal its true nature. Deep space pulsed with nervous energy as the Galactic Council fleet waited at the border of human territory. Hundreds of alien ships, representing the supposed pinnacle of advanced space technology, floated in a defensive formation. Their sensors scanned the void, searching for signs of the promised Terran military force. Commander K, aboard his command ship, could not suppress a slight tremor of anticipation. Years of war experience told him that something was different. This calm before humanity's arrival was too unsettling, too methodical, like the silence before a devastating explosion. The first sign of the Terran Empire's arrival was not visual, but rather a series of gravitational distortions that sent the alien navigation instruments into a panic. Council officers barely had time to adjust their sensors before the very fabric of space began to warp. What emerged from hyperspace defied all established logic about military power and war strategy. It was not just a fleet. It was an unstoppable force that made the Council's hundreds of ships seem insignificant in comparison. The Terran ships advanced in perfect formation, each movement synchronized with mathematical precision, demonstrating a military prowess never before seen in the galaxy. The design of human ships was a testament to efficiency and pragmatic militarism. There were no unnecessary ornaments, no vain displays of status or power. Every line, every angle, every system had been designed with a single purpose: supremacy in space combat. The Terran battleships, true mobile fortresses, possessed a presence that absorbed even the light from the stars. Their hulls, made of materials unknown to the Council's science, seemed to defy the laws of physics. The advanced technology that humanity had developed in secret was now revealing itself in all its terrifying glory. Amid the stunned silence that took hold of the Council fleet, a transmission cut through all communication frequencies. The image of Admiral Marcus Reeve appeared on every screen, in every terminal, in every ship. His presence was magnetic, not because of the power he emanated, but because of the absolute certainty conveyed in every gesture. Dressed in the black uniform of the Terran Empire, his insignias gleaming under artificial light, he represented centuries of military preparation reaching their decisive moment. His message was brief, but laden with meaning. "We are on our way. Prepare to receive us." The way he pronounced each word made it clear that this was not a request, but a warning. The impact of the Terran military force's arrival reverberated far beyond the imminent battlefield. In the command rooms of the Galactic Council, military leaders began to grasp the monumental mistake they had made in underestimating humanity. The pacifism they had so often mocked was now revealed as a mere mask, hiding an unprecedented galactic confrontation force. Humanity's evolution had not followed the predictable paths of war and destruction. Instead, it had developed in secret, perfecting every aspect of its military capability until it reached a level of superiority that was now terrifying to behold. The ships of the Terran Empire continued to arrive, emerging from hyperspace in precisely calculated waves. Each new formation revealed different classes of vessels, each more impressive than the last. Cargo ships converted into battle platforms that rivaled the largest battleships of the Council. Attack frigates whose speed and maneuverability defied the known limits of space physics. The impending power shift would not be a battle. It would be a demonstration of absolute galactic dominance. Revenge for the underestimation suffered over centuries would not be served with unrestrained violence, but with devastating military efficiency. Commander K, observing the display of power unfolding before his eyes, felt for the first time in his long military career the crushing weight of fear. It was not an irrational fear born from confronting a superior enemy. It was the cold terror of realizing that everything they believed they knew about humanity was wrong. The Cold War they had maintained with humans had never been a sign of weakness, but rather a deliberate choice by a race that had been waiting for the perfect moment to reveal its true nature. The threat now looming over the galaxy was not one of indiscriminate destruction, but of an implacable force guided by superior intelligence and a strategy centuries in the making. The vacuum of space, normally silent and impassive, became the stage for an unprecedented display of power when the combined fleets of the Galactic Council and the Terran Empire encountered the Krogan force. The battlefield stretched for thousands of kilometers, dotted with the light of distant stars and the menacing glow of the reactors from thousands of warships. The tension was palpable, even through the void. As the sensors of each vessel registered the enemy's approach, the Krogan, known for their brutality and relentless military strength, advanced like a storm of destruction, their ships forming a chaotic and terrifying mass. The first Krogan attack came like a wave of pure violence. Their ships, carrying advanced technology fused with primitive brutality, hurled themselves at the defensive lines with suicidal abandon. Biological projectiles, capable of corroding even the most resistant shields, streaked across space in erratic trajectories. Mass torpedoes, designed to maximize destruction, exploded in cascading detonations against enemy defenses. The Krogan strategy, if it could even be called that, was based on their traditional tactic of achieving supremacy through brute force and overwhelming numbers. The Galactic Council responded as it always had, with a display of technological power that, on any other occasion, would have been impressive. Then humanity entered the battle, and the galactic confrontation transformed into something entirely new. The ships of the Terran Empire moved with a precision that defied comprehension. Each maneuver calculated not only to avoid damage, but to maximize the efficiency of the counterattack. There was no wasted energy, no superfluous movement. Admiral Marcus Reeve, commanding his military force from the flagship Eclipse, orchestrated a symphony of methodical destruction that made Krogan violence seem amateurish in comparison. Every shot fired by Terran weapons found its target with surgical precision, exploiting vulnerabilities that even the Krogan themselves were unaware of in their own designs. What had begun as a space battle quickly turned into a demonstration of military superiority that left even the most seasoned veterans of the Council in shock. The Terran ships, moving in formations that seemed to anticipate every enemy reaction, eliminated Krogan vessels with terrifying efficiency. There was no glory in their movements, no displays of bravery or heroism, only the precise and relentless execution of maneuvers that had been planned and perfected long ago. The revenge humanity served that day was not tempered with emotion, but with a calculated coldness that made their display of power all the more terrifying. Within minutes, the apparent numerical advantage of the Krogan became their greatest weakness. Their chaotic formations, which had once seemed unstoppable, were now fatally predictable in the face of humanity's superior tactical analysis. The Terran Empire was not just winning the battle, it was rewriting the rules of space warfare. Every movement was a lesson in military strategy, every shot a demonstration of absolute technological dominance. Humanity's evolution in warfare was revealed not through battle cries or acts of bravery, but in the silent efficiency with which they exterminated their enemies. Commander K, watching the massacre from the command bridge of his ship, felt his warrior's blood turn cold in his veins. The humans were not merely defeating the Krogan, they were studying them, analyzing every attack pattern, every defensive response, every attempt at regrouping. The relentless force of the Terran Empire was evident not only in its capacity for destruction, but in the methodical way it turned the battlefield into a war laboratory. Every movement was recorded, every tactic evaluated, every weakness catalogued for future reference. Humanity's military prowess was revealed not just in its ability to kill, but in its ability to learn while doing so. When the last Krogan ship exploded into the void of space, a deafening silence took over the battlefield. The ships of the Terran Empire, virtually untouched by the confrontation, maintained their positions with the same mathematical precision they had demonstrated throughout the combat. There were no celebrations, no cries of victory, only the constant hum of the engines and the cold glow of the reactors. The power shift they had just witnessed had not been a battle in the traditional sense, but a meticulously planned and flawlessly executed execution. The galaxy had changed forever, and everyone present knew it. In the silence that followed the annihilation of the Krogan fleet, a new reality began to take shape in the collective consciousness of the Galactic Council. The surrounding space was filled with debris, silent witnesses to the devastating power that the Terran Empire had just demonstrated. The human ships remained in their positions, their formations just as precise as at the beginning of the battle, without a single scratch on their dark hulls. The military efficiency displayed transcended anything the galaxy had ever witnessed. It was not just technological superiority, it was the manifestation of a force that had meticulously prepared for this moment for centuries. Commander K, a veteran of countless battles and a witness to some of the most brutal displays of power in galactic history, found himself in a state of contemplative stupor. His claws, usually firm on the controls of his ship, trembled slightly as he mentally replayed the events of the past few minutes. Humanity's military prowess was not merely impressive, it was terrifying in its precision. Every movement had been calculated, every shot had a specific purpose, every maneuver was part of a greater strategy that was only now beginning to reveal itself. The pacifism that had for so long defined humanity in the eyes of the galaxy was now proving to be the most elaborate of facades. On the command bridge of the Terran flagship, Admiral Marcus Reeve observed the tactical screens with the same calm and calculating expression that defined him. Under his command, the Terran Empire had just executed a demonstration of power that would forever change the balance of forces in the galaxy. The advanced technology that humans had secretly developed proved to be more than superior. It was revolutionary. Targeting systems, defensive shields, propulsion engines, everything operated at a level that made the Council's finest achievements seem primitive in comparison. Humanity's evolution in the field of warfare had followed a unique path, guided not by the need for immediate confrontation, but by a vision of absolute galactic dominance. The galactic revenge that humanity had just executed was not driven by uncontrolled emotions or bloodlust. It was the culmination of a centuries-old plan, A demonstration of relentless strength, meticulously orchestrated for maximum psychological impact. Terran militarism did not reveal itself through war cries or displays of bravery, but in the calculating coldness with which they had eliminated one of the most feared forces in the galaxy. The Cold War that had long masked humanity's true intentions now gave way to a far more terrifying reality. Humanity not only possessed power, it knew exactly how and when to use it. Transmissions began to circulate among the Council's ships, carrying battle reports that seemed more like nightmares than reality. The supremacy demonstrated by the Terran Empire went beyond mere military superiority. It was a complete redefinition of what was considered possible in terms of power and control. The most experienced officers, those who had mocked the supposed human pacifism, now found themselves forced to confront an uncomfortable truth. They had underestimated not only humanity's strength, but its strategic patience. The threat now, looming over the galaxy, was not one of indiscriminate destruction, but of a force that had perfected the art of war to an unprecedented level. The silence reigning on the battlefield was broken only by the occasional crackling of communications and the constant hum of engines. The Terran ships maintained their formation with robotic precision, each one a testament to the military efficiency that humanity had cultivated in secret. The power shift they had just witnessed was not merely a victory, it was a complete redefinition of the rules of galactic confrontation. The wreckage of the Krogan fleet, floating silently in the void, served as a warning to anyone who still doubted human capability. The era of pacifism was over, and a new age of Terran dominance was about to begin. The psychological impact of humanity's display of power reverberated through the collective consciousness of the Galactic Council. The superiority they had demonstrated was not just technological or strategic, it was fundamentally philosophical. Humanity had proven that true strength did not lie in the ability to wage war, but in the ability to win it before it even began. The Terran Empire had not only defeated the Krogan, it had established a new paradigm of intergalactic power. And as the last explosions faded into the void of space, one truth crystallized in the minds of all present. The galaxy would never be the same. In the Grand Hall of the Galactic Council, where decisions shaping the fate of entire civilizations were traditionally made, a heavy silence dominated the room. The holographic screens still displayed images of the Terran Empire's recent demonstration of power, a constant reminder of the radical shift in the galaxy's balance of power. The advanced technology that enabled such projections now seemed almost primitive compared to what humans had revealed on the battlefield. Admiral Marcus Reeve, whose presence dominated the room through a life-sized holographic projection, maintained the same serene expression that had characterized him throughout the battle against the Krogan. The proposal echoing through the halls of power was not a request or a negotiation. It was the presentation of a new reality. The Terran Empire, through the calm and calculated voice of Reeve, outlined its vision for the future. A unified command under humanity's leadership. The military strength they had demonstrated was not merely a tool of war, but an instrument of galactic order. The efficiency with which they had eliminated the Krogan threat was only a glimpse of what could be achieved under human control. The military prowess they had displayed was not an end in itself, but a means to establish a new form of galactic dominance. Commander K, now seated among the council members, felt the weight of history pressing down on his scaly shoulders. The revenge humans sought was not merely for the underestimation they had suffered, it was the implementation of a far greater vision. Every word spoken by Admiral Reeve carried the weight of centuries of planning. Every proposal was supported by the implicit threat of the power they had demonstrated. The Cold War that had long defined relations between humans and the rest of the galaxy now revealed itself as just one phase in a far more complex strategy of total supremacy. The presentation continued, and with each new directive proposed, it became increasingly clear that the Terran Empire had planned this moment down to the finest detail. The power shift would not be abrupt or violent, it would be methodical, efficient, just as everything humans did. The evolution of the galactic political system under human rule would be guided by the same principles that had made their military force so devastating: precision, planning, and a deep understanding of their adversaries' psychology. When one of the counselors dared to ask what would happen in case of refusal, Admiral Reeves' subtle smile sent chills through the entire assembly. Reeves' response to the question about resistance was a masterclass in veiled diplomacy. With the same calm that had characterized his orders during the battle, he reminded everyone present of the fate of the Krogan. It was not an explicit threat. There was no need. The overwhelming superiority of the Terran military had been demonstrated so convincingly that additional words were unnecessary. The pacifism that had long masked humanity's true intentions now gave way to a new form of diplomacy, backed by the undeniable power of its relentless force. The threat looming over those who dared resist did not need to be spoken. The wreckage of the Krogan fleet still drifted in space as a silent reminder. The transformation unfolding at that moment went far beyond a simple change of power. It was the birth of a new galactic order, founded not merely on brute strength, but on the military and administrative efficiency that only humans seemed capable of achieving. The galactic confrontation they had witnessed was not the end. It was merely the first step toward a future where peace would be maintained, not through endless negotiations, but through the absolute certainty that any resistance would be met. With the same devastating precision that had annihilated the Krogan, the Terran Empire did not seek adoration or loyalty. It sought order, efficiency, and above all, control. The silence that followed Admiral Reeves' presentation was eloquent in its meaning. The Galactic Council, that ancient institution that had long been the center of interstellar power, now faced a choice that was not truly a choice. Humanity had proven not only its technological and military superiority, but also its ability to transform that superiority into effective political dominance. And as the representatives of the various species processed the implications of what they had just heard, one certainty crystallized. The era of human dominance had begun, and nothing in the galaxy would be able to stop it. The history of the Terran Empire's rise to galactic domination can be measured in numbers that defy conventional comprehension. For 1,000 years, humanity cultivated an image of pacifism that deceived even the most astute observers of the Galactic Council. For 10 centuries, every move was calculated, every technology developed in secret, every demonstration of strength restrained. This millennium of silent preparation constituted the longest and most successful exercise in strategic deception in the history of the galaxy, a masterpiece of patience that turned underestimation into a weapon more powerful than any plasma cannon. The final demonstration of military power that established Terran supremacy was executed with an efficiency that still haunts military historians. In just a few minutes, the most feared warforce in the galaxy was reduced to floating wreckage. The Krogan fleet, which had terrorized entire civilizations for generations, was methodically dismantled in such a short time that many observers initially doubted the timestamps in the records. The military prowess demonstrated by the Terran Empire in those brief moments rewrote every manual of space warfare, establishing a new paradigm of combat efficiency that would never be matched. The Galactic Council had assembled the greatest concentration of military power ever seen in its history. Hundreds of warships from various species, representing the pinnacle of known advanced technology. This show of force, which in any other circumstance would have been impressive, was completely eclipsed by the arrival of the Terran fleet. Superiority was not just in numbers, but in the seamless integration of technology and tactics, a symphony of destruction orchestrated with mathematical precision that turned the battle into a calculated execution. Analysts who attempted to quantify the military power revealed by the Terran Empire that day found themselves faced with an impossible task. How does one measure a force that did not suffer a single casualty while carrying out a complete galactic reckoning? How do you calculate the efficiency of an unstoppable force that turned what should have been a prolonged war into a demonstration of absolute dominance lasting only minutes. The numbers, no matter how impressive, failed to capture the true extent of the supremacy displayed. Humanity's evolution in the art of war had transcended conventional metrics. The galactic confrontation force that the Terran Empire revealed that day went far beyond the simple count of ships or firepower. It was the manifestation of a power, refined over centuries of silent development, a demonstration of control that made previous estimates of human military capability seem laughable. The threat now looming over the galaxy could not be quantified in conventional terms. It was the mathematical certainty that any resistance would be met with the same devastating efficiency that had annihilated the Krogan. The psychological impact of the Terran demonstration of power was amplified by the gradual realization that what had been witnessed was only a fraction of humanity's true military potential. The long-standing Cold War that had masked the Terran Empire's capabilities gave way to a new era of galactic dominance. One based not on absolute numbers, but on the certainty of a technological and strategic superiority so advanced that any numerical comparison became irrelevant. The subsequent takeover was facilitated by the universal understanding that humans had achieved a level of military prowess that transcended traditional metrics of strength and power. In the new galactic order that emerged after the Terran display of power, the numbers that once defined the hierarchy among species lost their meaning. The pacifism that had been interpreted as weakness for 1,000 years was revealed to be the most sophisticated power accumulation strategy ever conceived. The military efficiency demonstrated in mere minutes of combat set a new standard of supremacy that no amount of resources or technology could surpass. The Terran Empire not only redefined the balance of power in the galaxy, it established a new way of measuring and understanding the very concept of interstellar dominance. The Terran Empire's demonstration of power that you have just witnessed is only the beginning of a much larger saga. While the wreckage of the Krogan fleet still drifts in the void of space, new stories of human supremacy await to be told. Have you ever wondered how humanity developed such advanced technology without anyone noticing? What happened in the secret laboratories of Mars during those 1,000 years of preparation? And what about the rumors surrounding the mysterious Prometheus initiative that Admiral Reeve mentioned in his encrypted transmissions? If these questions have sparked your curiosity, you won't want to miss our next video, Project Eclipse: The Dark Secrets Behind Terran Military Technology, a deep investigation into the true origins of human military power, including classified documents never before revealed about the experiments that transformed our peaceful commercial ships into unbeatable war machines. To ensure you don't miss a single detail of this epic saga on the rise of the Terran Empire, activate the notification bell and subscribe to the channel. Every week, new revelations about humanity's domination of the galaxy will be shared exclusively with our subscribers. And remember, just as the Galactic Council learned the hard way, underestimating humanity's power could be the last mistake you make.